Borderlands 4 was announced to release later this year, and to prepare, I thought I'd play through Borderlands 3 for the first time. Now, for a bit of context, Borderlands 3 was released in 2019, where I actually bought the game on release day. In fact, Epic Games, a small indie company you may have heard of, was doing exclusivity deals at the time with games to promote their launcher. I was initially doubtful, but I was so excited for the game that I decided to order it through Epic, where I downloaded it and played the first 6 hours before my files in the launchers were corrupted. Thanks for the Fortnite skins, though. Now, I'd like to be clear. The first experience with the game, I was actually enjoying myself quite a bit. The gunplay was really fun, the 4 main characters looked very sick. We were getting to explore new areas we had not previously in the series, all the while I was seeing some of my favorites from the games I had played previously, as well as getting acquainted with the new ones that were introduced through unseen areas and planets. We were blasting, running, gunning, driving, exploring, and I hate to admit it, but I was having fun. Now, I decided to finally return to the series, where I hope to find a similar sense of joy that I have with this universe. And I decided to stream this event at twitch.tv/embrace. Shameless promotion. And I decided to give my thoughts on the game in this extensive review of my experience. So let's start where I think most people begin their Borderlands experience. The intros.
So, you want to hear a story, huh? It's a beautiful day, full of opportunity. So, who's coming?
Disgusting, Marcus. Why would you ask us that? Initial thoughts? This looks sick. We have 4 badasses coming into the wilderness of Pandora, fighting off an infestation of psychos that have overrun a Crimson Raider recruitment station. They're all distinct in design and feel very inspired, while pulling from classes we've seen elsewhere. We got Mecha Lady, Psychic Mommy, Alcoholic Wildcard, and last but not least, Robot with Dog. This was definitely going to be a hard decision. She's not very my vibe. I'll give Flack a try. I won't lie, the ability to have a dog in this game absolutely led the bias in my decision. The honest choice was right there in front of me, and I had to go with my boy Flack. Plus, you can pet the dog. Now that we've been introed, selected a character, and have geeked out all the appropriate amounts, it's time to begin our adventure. Oh, I forgot how painful this start is. Claptrap, why are you here? Now that may seem a bit harsh, but to be perfectly honest, this is a bad start in my opinion. I know we've started off every game with Claptrap in some form of spirit, but I do believe this is meant to be the entry in the series that shakes things up. I think to their benefit we should have had a mix-up here of a less washed intro of Claptrap being a headstrong Princess Peach character, and us saving him to move us into the main plotline. Maybe that's a bit nitpicky, so I won't hold that criticism so heavily. Let's just see what the rest of the game has to offer. So we're on Pandora, clearing out a bandit hideout, brimming with troublemakers, familiar and comfortable. However, this time around, we're not just facing generic bandits who are roaming the wasteland. These bandits are the Children of the Vault, a cult of vicious murders and psychos who follow the Calypso twins, Tyreen and Troy, 2 Twitch streamers with huge senses of self-importance and a desire to be the center of the universe. So, it's good that the narrative is based in reality and not too far-fetched. However, these aren't your normal narcissists. Tyreen is a powerful being called a Siren, a class of human that possesses immense psychic powers, distinguished by their sick arm tats and their desire to eat purple rocks. And Troy is really good at editing or something? He's kinda famous by proxy. But currently, all we know is that twins are becoming incredibly infamous and building a reputation for fermenting dissent. Now, we, the Vault Hunters, are sent to investigate these band of thieves to figure out what they're up to. And it's time to face the first boss of the game. Let's see what the Children of the Vault are capable of.
I'm gonna sharpen my blade on your spine!
Anyway, we get this information about the twins from Vaughn, the former leader of the Sun Smashers, a cult of their own that came into possession of a vault map, whereafter they soon denounced Vaughn and sold this map to the children of the vault. Now remember Vaughn, he'll be important later. For now, this dungeon, where we're tasked with retrieving the vault map, we meet aesthetically one of my favorite bosses. Thematically named Mouthpiece, we meet him in his sick-ass DJ room, where we have to dodge his audio blast coming from all sides of the room at different intervals. I met plenty of guys in college who thought they were him. This is him. This guy rules. He's super sick, both looks-wise, and it was a really kind of a fun experience to work us back into the groove that Borderlands really has with some of its bosses. For some fucking reason, he has the vault map. Me personally, if I was a big bad villain, I wouldn't be lending my valuable vault map to a lackey. That's just me though. Now that we've acquired the vault map, we get to meet up with the rest of the Crimson Raiders to chase this new vault across the galaxy and earn the title of a Vault Hunter. But before we can, we find out that Tyrion and Troy aren't as easy to push around as their lackeys. They put a real dampener on the mood by removing Lilith from the equation. Wait a second. Lilith isn't dead. They just sucked out her siren powers and took the vault key. But now we're in space. Ooh, you remember this guy? What about this guy? Or maybe this guy? I digress. It's time to follow that vault map and see where it leads us. Now this is what I think this game does strongest, which is bring the Borderlands game to the Borderlands universe. We get to bring our unsightly crew to 5 locations: Pandora, Promethea, Athenas, Eden 6, and Necrotophaea. All very unique and distinct planets where we get to explore newfound aspects of the Borderlands series. This is a futuristic space series after all. What do civilized planets look like? What about unruly planets with wild beasts and creatures galore? Or even planets with well-established histories dating back generations? We can't forget Pandora though. The Pandora plotline has been used extensively, and it's even where we started this journey. But it's time we check out those new areas. Ooh, we're on Promethea, the city planet and the homeworld of the Atlas Corporation. And there are some shenanigans afoot, but before we get into that, there's something I want to talk about first. Here is where I think the crux of the game gets put on full display. Now up to this point, I have my own personal gripes with the writing, the pacing, and the fan service displayed, but here's where I believe the design philosophy really strains to hold a candle. The pacing and the distribution of experience, levels, and gameplay are key elements in this looter-shooter series. Drops are relative to your level, your abilities, and survivability are also tied to these mechanics. When you, as a designer, make these decisions, there is a bottom line you're trying to build up from. Many different games by many different developers have decided what that line looks like. In my opinion, the baseline should be your base narrative. If your player follows your story as it is laid out in front of them, they should technically be on pace for the beat. Otherwise, I fear that those beats were not placed for the experience you are trying to guide them on. All to say, there were multiple times in this playthrough that I was underleveled, just following story beats. I wasn't skipping things or ignoring quests that seemed to go in hand with the main story. I don't think this was designed maliciously, but I do feel that it was not thought out. This decision to require side quests for progression heavily influenced when and why I decided to do them. At first, I was stubborn and ignored my level, hoping to overcome this lacking with sheer raw gamer willpower. But sadly, I'm not that good, and I had to yield to the game I was playing. I do believe that one of the greater sticking powers of Borderlands is the exploration of a land that seems to be dotted with happenings, either tied to story beats or completely devoid of any relation to what is happening in the main narrative. These side quests have served to fill the world of Borderlands meaningfully. Now that I am required to do them to keep up with the expected pace of the game, I do not feel a sense of discovery or enrichment. Instead, I feel like I'm doing homework leading up to a test. It created a lot of funneling of decisions that look the choices away from me. I would actively have to choose to go seek out side quests to keep on track. Borderlands has always felt alive, no matter what decision I made. Whether I was in the room or not, it breathed. This iteration of the universe felt kind of lifeless. Whoa! What the fuck? Baron Nog! That's my guy right there. I won't dwell too long on this topic,
because I covered the majority of my feelings on it. Side quests feel fine, they feel a little less humorous and unwilling to take the joke the distance, but I did honestly laugh out loud at some of the moments they orchestrated, and some that I will delve deeper into later on had some very well-delivered gut punches that stuck with me. I'll give them credit for their decision to divert some of the experience away from the main story, as delivered ample quests of varying qualities and engagement, which I do appreciate. If that is their direction, I'm glad that they had compensated in other areas, providing opportunities to the players that find it elsewhere. Our time on this planet is fairly short-lived. We spent some time helping out Reese, the CEO of Atlas, with some very aggressive merger offers from Malawan and their CEO, who's decided to team up with Calypso twins. Just to keep things interesting, we team up with Zero to hold off some aggressive marketing tactics, where then after we make some big brain plays, and our efforts are rewarded with the location of the Promethea key. So we'll be back to Promethea, we just have to take a pit stop on Athenas. No, not that Athenas. Or that one. There we go. Athenas, home to yet another cult, and this one isn't an MLM. There isn't a pyramid, but there is a temple filled with purple rocks, and monks known as the Order of the Impending Storm. Badass name, but I'm not giving up my life savings for it, especially if I don't know anyone in the organization. Wait a minute. Maya? Well, there aren't any bridges nearby to jump off, so we instead went headfirst into combat with the returning forces of the Malawan Company. Their pent-up aggression of having some of the worst-feeling weapons and being told no for the first time finally boiled over, and they decided to point their wet-noodled aggression at some pacifists in a far-off land. Subtle commentary aside, this planet has a heavy tie to the Vault and its creators, drawing in many who were looking to learn about the Sirens and their psionic pop-rock powers. After tolling some bells and dispensing of the Malawan foot soldiers and babysitting Maya's underling Ava, we make it to the man leading the charge, Captain Trant, a large version of so many that we've been facing across the planet. He goes down without much fanfare. The fact that the gimmick of the arena was the exact same as some of the previous bosses definitely added to the speed with which we dispatched him, or would have if I hadn't just tanked it on the chin and killed him in one phase. No big deal. With him out of the way, we are now able to open up a hidden room after juicing up Maya on some iridium that we borrowed from some local crypts, where we after got exactly what we came for. After acquiring the Vault Key fragment, we recruit Maya and Ava to our cause and get the fragment returned to Tanis for her to tinker with. Did I say fragment? Oh yeah! It turns out the Promethea Vault Key has been divided into 3 pieces, and the one on Athenas was just part of the whole key. Oh well. In the meantime, I guess we'll return to Promethea and help Reese with his corporate warfare. While we were away, Malawan took a page out of Darth Sidious's book and brought out the space laser to rain down on everything that Reese loves and cares about.
No, 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 no!
Katagawa, the CEO of Malawan, hoped that these low blows would push Reese to accept his merger. However, this instead just pissed him off. So Reese decides to put the matter to rest and face Katagawa himself, mano a mano. And by that, I mean he sends us with a USB stick that gives him access to machines. Equipped with the USB and the rage of another man, we hijack a Malawan ship and launch our ass straight into space. It's time to fight a space laser. We infiltrate Skywell 27, expertly dissecting Malawan forces while being forced to listen to Reese and Katagawa's slow burn will they, won't they, back and forth. Reese accordingly takes control of something called a pleasure sphere and leads the charge in dismantling the space laser. Even so, we make it to the control room of the giant space laser where we fight off security and wrestle control of the laser away. All the while, Reese has taken over the aux to play some sick-ass fight tunes, and honestly, it's getting me pretty pumped. Now in control, Reese retaliates for losing his favorite water park by destroying Katagawa's pleasure yacht, killing potentially hundreds of staff on board. Look at the casualties of toxic yaoi. All of this could have been avoided with brutal honesty and some self-reflection. Outraged that someone would dare retaliate against his misdeeds, Katagawa releases his own ball to contest control of the laser. Heavy ball-on-ball action commences. Finally defeated, we find one of the key fragments that was powering the laser in Katagawa's balls. After all that low-hanging fruit, we return to Sanctuary where we give Tanis the second key fragment. This was actually one of my favorite sections of the game. Dialogue was a bit heavy, but non-intrusive. I got to play the game and explore the map while taking in exposition. The fact that I didn't have to stop the experience to participate in the story helped attach myself to the narrative. I got a real sense of Katagawa and Reese's dynamic, which helped invest me in what we were doing here. The comedic nature of the back and forth definitely helped with the high frequency of how much they talked, and gave me ample time to really formulate my own opinions on both of the characters. Reese is a bumbling idiot, but Katagawa is jealous and insecure. These two contrast each other so well as they butt heads through the level and made the finish come together cleanly. We aren't the heroes, but Katagawa was our enemy, which made defeating him feel very satisfying. I would also like to briefly shout out the Brain Teaser game and Dr. Tanis' lab. This game was sponsored by the people behind the Microsetta initiative, and I definitely did not expect to enjoy a simple puzzle game so much in the middle of Borderlands. I sunk well into an hour just trying to hit all of the high scores I could. Not too important, but I just thought I'd mention it. Now, we've stopped the corporate space laser that was terrorizing the people of Promethea, and as a reward, Reese promises to give us the final fragment of the vault key. We just have to come down to Atlas HQ and get it from his office. Upset about what we did to his ball and his pleasure yacht, Katagawa sends an invasion force into Atlas HQ, and they are the only thing stopping us from finishing this vault key. Clearing through waves of Malawan soldiers, we progress through Atlas HQ, but we can't help but wonder, where the hell is Zero? Supposedly loyal to Reese, Zero is nowhere to be found. Oh hey, there's Zero. He looks different. No. He wouldn't dare. Would he? He's wearing the Malawan symbol. Seemingly betrayed by Zero, we rush our way to Reese, trying to protect him from someone who was once our ally. To make matters worse, I have to kill robot dogs with my dog. I can't handle this dog-eat-dog world. But my dog is cooler, and he has corrosive powers, so we make it through no problem, and we use our newfound space laser to destroy the Malawan dropship and stop their invading forces. Now that we've stopped the invasion, we can get back to Reese's office and finally complete the vault key and get out of here. Wait a second, Zero is in Reese's office. Maybe he's seen the error in his ways and he's come to apologize.
What? Zero, what are you doing? No! No!
Well, I guess we have to fight Zero. We make our way up to Reese's office and find a secret passage that Reese must have escaped through.
Zero! Come on, man! I thought we were friends!
You should have joined the family, Reese!
This boss fight was actually pretty cool. The mix-up was fun, and it's cool to technically fight an older character, even if it is just a Nepo baby with a sword. It was a little annoying with how mobile he was, but I liked the gimmick of killing mirror images. It really made you feel like you were fighting a version of Zero, which, damn is he annoying. He'd make a mirror image of himself, then sneak up right next to me to sucker punch me right in my kidney. Besides the pain, this fight blew over very easily. We stomped Katagawa's bloodline right into the dirt. So sad to see such a blossoming romance between Reese and Katagawa ended so soon. But we have a vault key to assemble. Tanis reassembles the key for us. Then after, we make our way to the location of the vault. Back planetside, we do one of my least favorite styles of missions that we will have to do multiple times later. They give us a special vehicle that it is our job to get from point A to point B, all while trying our best to not die. And if our vehicle ever breaks, you just have to walk your happy ass to the closest catcher ride and reassemble the exact same vehicle. We're making our way to a Polyon station, and I will say, for how annoying this mission is, the giant holograms of the Calypso twins are pretty badass, and do a good job of building the tension in the moment. Leading up to the vault, they do introduce some pretty badass new enemy types in the Wraith Inspector. Also, the ammo crates and chests in this vault section of the game are some of my favorites to open. I could open these all day, but we have a vault to open! The Rampager, the guardian of the vault, and honestly, he's pretty fucking sick. He sucks in the souls during the stages that if you don't shoot, release a freight train? It's a fucking freight train, what the fuck? Just like me, if he doesn't get his souls in the morning, he's very grumpy. Too bad for him, the train has left the station, and I want to know what's in that vault. While entering the vault, Tannis decides to appropriate some siren powers and psychics into our mind to tell us to pick up the tool in the middle of the room. I was gonna anyway, but I'm glad she told me to. Oh shit! We got laser blade hands, and they break iridium. Of course, behind the iridium was a link to a second vault located on Eden 6. Obviously. While we've been doing badass super cool vault hunter shit, Maya has been scolding her apprentice. I'm sure they're fine, but we should go check up on them.
What's up, bitches?
Oh, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. A moment of silence for our fellow fallen vault hunter. Who likes Jumanji? Welcome to Eden 6, a planet made of things that can kill you, but different from the past 3 planets that are made of things that can kill you. Because this planet is home to the Jacobs family, best bolt-action arms producer on this side of the universe. Fastest fire rate in the whole damn game, depending on how fast you can pull that trigger, that is. Before we get into that, a brief moment to appreciate the addition of this mechanic. Damn, that shit is cool. Alright, let's meet Wainwright Jacobs. A beautiful man of outstanding descent and an acceptable amount of human greed, Wainwright Jacobs catches us up to speed with the Calypso twins' machinations that are unfolding on Eden 6. More specifically, he sets us on course to free his partner, and personally one of my favorite characters in the Borderlands series.
Excellent, a Vault Hunter!
Congrats to him for finding a partner willing to hunt all the bullymongs that he could ever ask for. However, he finds himself on the end of our current quest marker as we find out he's being held in a high-profile containment facility known as the Anvil. In pursuit of Mr. Hamlock, we come across an explosive dynamic duo, Brick and Tina. Brick helps us clear through the first area of enemies before bringing us to Tina. Tina tells us that she can help us get a Hammerlock out, but first we have to assemble her a pizza and wants us to deliver the pizza to the front door so that it will explode. It's time to cross the bridge and fight our way through hordes of fanatics to deliver this pizza. We delivered in 20 minutes or less, or it's free! Now with the pizza delivered, it's time we serve up some nice hot whoop-ass and save Sir Hammerlock. We have to fight off the warden of prison. He was heavily armored, which meant he did not enjoy our dog with corrosive aura, which funnily enough was my nickname in college. With the assistance from Mordecai, we dispatch him easily and release Sir Hamlock, where he informs us of some downright devastating information. His sister, Aurelia Hammerlock, has used her brother's connection to the Jacobs family to strike a deal with the Calypso twins. She will help them find and open the vault if she gets in control of the Jacobs Corporation. That's cold. Especially coming from your own flesh and blood. Apparently, Montgomery Jacobs, Wainwright Jacobs' father, kept information about the Vault Key's whereabouts in his manor, where we've been tasked with hunting that information down. We make our way to the mansion entrance where we've been invited in by Aurelia herself. That's not foreboding at all. The first thing I notice about this region is that instead of small ammo boxes, there are these tiny record players and phonograms scattered around the mansion. This nice touch brings in the tone that the Jacobs are a family of tradition and appreciators of old-fashioned senses, if that obviously wasn't given away by the bolt-action rifles and revolvers, of course. It's a small touch, but it does help do set dressing for a name that we've been singing for years now, and brings together elements of past Borderlands to this Borderlands. We make our way through the vintage mansion at first uncontested, before...
Fill your hands, you zealot scum! Huh?
Surprise, surprise. It's a trap, and as you may have seen earlier, Troy is now a siren. A first of his kind, especially considering that there have only been female sirens as far as we are aware, but by absorbing Maya's powers, Troy has become the first male siren, and a real thorn now that he doesn't have to rely on Tyreen. However, due to Wainwright's interventions, we are now chasing Troy through the vintage Jacobs mansion, trying to track down the vault key clue hidden somewhere on the premise. We make our way to the theater. As we get closer, we see iridium-encrusted corpses decorating just outside. Time to find out what's going on here.
Yes! Feel my power run through you!
Oh, sorry for showing up late. Let me scoot that over here. Spoilers. Troy can turn people into iridium-fueled monsters, which is pretty sick nasty. A very unique siren power, and definitely has some interesting prospects going forward. I love that they introduced this concept here, and I really hope that they actually weave in more and more until it is one of the more common enemies. That'd be a really cool progression. However, this guy, personally, is a pushover, and when we push him over, instead of falling, he turns into solid iridium, that when broken is pretty satisfying. With him dealt with, we move on to navigating the theater and dabbling in high school production of our own. We shift around the set pieces until we have Typhon overlooking the vault arches and some ruins, commenting on the sentiment that the belated father felt for Typhon. Upon arranging the set, a trapdoor in the middle of the stage opens up and tucked away passages are revealed. Of course, in a millionaire's mansion, we pull a book off of a shelf to reveal a hidden room that contains a record, quite literally, of where the vault key is hidden. And that is exactly where I personally would have hidden. We help him liberate a local town from the children of the vault and arm ourselves with a Jacob stash inside. However, that's not enough firepower to arm a rebellion, so we're sent off to liberate a gunsmith from Fort Sunshine. Honestly, a great name for a fort, and an even better location to hold a gunsmith. One issue, there's a ledge that is 12 feet in the air, and I don't have a ladder, so instead I have to think of the next logical solution. Luckily for us, a lumberyard has to move their lumber over this very reinforced military base, and one of my favorite rides at Disney World is Splash Mountain. Actually, that's a lie. It's the minecart ride with the dwarves. I like that you can spin the barrels of gems, and Dopey's my favorite. But after a short ride through this small world, we hop right off smack dab in the middle of an ant nest, and it's time to get kicking, baby. We clear out Fort Sunshine, and would you look at that? Another one of those iridium anointed. After grinding Moldoc into fine purple dust, we free Dalton, the gunsmith. As thanks for our effort, he gives us a key to his gun vault, where I am given one of my favorite guns, the Dastardly Hand of Glory. It's not too special in any of the effects that it has, but therein lies the beauty. It's labeled as an assault rifle, but this beaut is a scoped DMR with a clean burst fire that rips the head off of anyone on the other side of the scope. Alright, so we're about halfway through the campaign, and I've encountered a good portion of the types of guns that are available, and I think it's time that we talk about them. There seems to be a running theme in their design philosophy with how they handled the gun design. There is this inconsistency that is pretty consistent. Possibly I get unlucky and didn't encounter enough, but through my entire run of this game, I found that just about every gun labeled as an archetype of a weapon was not quite that archetype. Something labeled an assault rifle, it's actually a scoped DMR. Labeled a rocket launcher, it's actually a flamethrower. What about a shotgun? It's actually a grenade launcher on a charge rifle. I do find it a little odd to not just come up with labels for these guns and include traditional weapons on top of the new varieties that they added. Yeah, sure, add a flamethrower that uses rocket ammo, or even add a DMR that uses assault rifle ammo. The desire to not overcongest the current system makes sense, but still, innovate upon what you've already done. My only complaint is that I wish that they fully synth this adaptation and unapologetically changed what guns were going to be used, because at the end of the day, I adapted and I found my own tools even if it was misnomered. Do I need an AR-like weapon? I used an SMG. Do I need a sniper rifle? I used a DMR. Do I need an AoE weapon? The shotgun served this purpose well. These changes created dissonance between my lived experience and the information I'm being given. Small impactful note, but I still think it's worth noting. Alright, we've given Wainwright plenty of time to fix up his record player, so let's find out where this vault key is supposed to be. We find out that Eden 6 vault keys also split into 3 pieces across the planet's surface. We first try to locate the family jewels, of course, and by that I mean the name of the ship, the Family Jewel, which crashed into the voracious canopy. Making our way to the Family Jewel, we must push through nests of prehistoric creatures and clear the way to the crashed ship. As we're approaching, we hear a voice crying out for help. The navigator of the Family Jewel, Balex, seems to be in distress and is asking us to help them. We make our way towards them where a giant fucking T-Rex steps into our path. Apparently Balex is inside the T-Rex. After lobbing off its head, we find Balex inside the remains. He's a pink teddy bear? Or more accurately, he is inside the pink teddy bear. Due to an argument with the ship's weapon system, Genevieve, Balex crashed the Family Jewel, whereafter Genevieve put Balex inside a teddy bear and tossed him outside of the ship. Fair enough. Balex agrees to help us make our way into the Jewel and take back the ship from the combat system. We make it onto the ship, but we are kindly informed that Genevieve has made a deal with Aurelia to trade the vault key fragment hosted on the ship in exchange for being put into the Dreadnought. Not a bad deal, all things considered. We push on through the ship's lower quarters where we are subjugated to another couple's bickering. However, the will they won't they of Reese and Katagoa pales in the comparison to the toxic falling out of these two robots. There is actually a fun moment where Balix tells us to rip some wires out, which knocks us down. At first I thought I fucked up and was going to have to run all the way back here, but being downed triggered a medical bot from the medbay to pick us up. Then we turn and thank it by knocking its head off and slotting in the ugliest demonic teddy bear you have ever seen onto its body. Now with the body, Balix can act as a glorified door key and grant us access to the upper half of the ship. Turns out Genevieve didn't like that and turned the security system to high alert, forcing Balix and I to crush some tin cans and turn them into change before I make it through the decks of the ship into the security bridge, where we are face to face with Balix's ex. We respond in a reasonable manner and drop a mech Evangelion style directly on top of her chrome dome. This fight was actually pretty cool. The room was kind of small, but Genevieve mainly would do these long dash attacks that would divide the room with green laser walls. A pretty cool mechanic, but really felt like a bullet hell. She wasn't too difficult after dealing with the first stage though, but I have to give props to them for one of the more interesting ways of complicating a boss arena. We settled the domestic dispute cleanly and quickly, whereafter we were awarded the vault key fragment that Genevieve was holding onto. Now homeless, Balix insisted we bring him back to Sanctuary where he was repurposed as dangling dice. We were about to turn the key in the ignition and leave this section behind, when Genevieve infiltrates our security system and tries to get everyone killed. We take Balix off of the rear mirror and pop him into the computer to push out Genevieve and earn his spot as our new navigation system. With the first fragment secured, we meet back up with Clay where he gives us a pistol that can see invisible symbols called rogue marks. We Blues Clues our way around this map, shooting marks that lead us to a location called the Amber Mire. We're headed here to make contact with one of the rebels, Archimedes. When we find him, he's been turned into red paint with the rest of his crew. We've been betrayed. There's a turncoat amongst our band of thieves, and it's our job to sniff him out. This won't actually be too hard because the traitor took the vault fragment and can be tracked. First, we need to locate another agent to get their ID badge to activate the tracker. We push through the Amber Mire, clearing out encampments of bandits until we come across Agent D, and well, I'll just let the clip speak for itself. These guys did it. We get her badge, then we set off to find Agent Quietfoot. We get to him just in time, watch him explode, and pick up his ID badge. Then head over to the docks to help out Agent Domino, and pick up his badge from his office. With IDs in hand, we back to the rogue's base and turn on the tracker to find out who this traitor is. A hollow jabber hops out and leads us across the mire to a clearing behind some bandit camps, and, well...
Aurelia promised me 2 planets and enough cash to build a water slide between them.
We shatter Archimedes' water slide planet Dreams and acquire the second piece of the vault key pie before we make our way to the final fragment of Eden 6. We follow Clay to the cellars beneath Jacob's estate, hoping to find the last remaining piece of the key. We find the delivery pipe that the last vault fragment tucked away in a barrel, but not before getting to witness a cute moment between our favorite couple.
Winnie, will you please hurry up with this? I do not relish the notion of a confrontation with my sister. God damn it, Alistair, my father's dead, my company is in the hands of bandits, and I'm trading away my inheritance because I had to save your life. If I have to enjoy myself while solving the last puzzle my father left for me, I damn well shall. You're right, I'm sorry. So in that case, I should not point out the code written on the ceiling. What? Oh, damn.
They have what I hope to have one day, when I retire to a far-off planet that's swamped in monsters and bandits that I fend off on top of organizing a rebellion after my partner's sister stages a coup of my company right from underneath me. Speaking of that sister...
If you want to kill Wainwright, then you will have to...
Yes, I know.
Some very cool stuff happens in this fight. She sends out a wave of ice that races cover, or footstools, to shoot behind and summons torrents of ice tornadoes that tear into you. Not only that, but she encases herself in a block of ice where we have to chip away at it to stop her from regenerating her shield. Pretty cool stuff. But we have to shatter her dreams of being Jacob's company heiress. After licking our wounds and the lovers lick each other, it's time we locate the vault's location. Montgomery did keep things interesting though, putting the location behind a small series of riddles having to do with passing of the previous Jacobs. Now with the family jewels found for a second time, it's time we secure something more valuable to us and enter the floating tomb
Of Doom!
I added the doom part. Tannis meets us right outside to assemble the vault key before we dive headfirst into the
Floating Tomb of Doom!
We slot in the key where we are faced with Grave and Ward. Staying on brand in this section of the game to have partners in crime, we help officiate their conjoining in the grave, whereafter a whole races greater than its parts. This is badass. Honestly, one of my favorite boss battles in the game. Grave Ward takes the slab of stone we're standing on and tries to fling us off, while we're sliding down balls of nuclear waste are rolling down alongside us. When that doesn't wipe us off the face of the planet, it begins doing these large swinging attacks that force us to move to certain sections of the platform, exposing critical areas of itself in the process. In the aftermath of its rage, there are holes in the platform for us to tuck away in when it tries to sweep us off the surface of the stone. One of the coolest fights of the game. Not difficult, but gave an amazing sense of scale for how small I am in comparison to the Vault Guardian. After filling the beast, Tannis joins us on the platform. Our goal is to absorb the Guardian's energy before the Calypso twins, and Tannis as our stand-in siren does a surprisingly good job. Now with the monster dealt with, we can make our way into the vault. Nothing ever goes wrong when we go into one of these. We leave the vault and began talking to Tannis about what comes next, but it turns out the twins aren't as dumb as we thought. If Tannis absorbed the Vault Guardian, then they can just absorb Tannis. Simple math, honestly. So they kidnapped her via siren bullshit magic and take away our scientist friend. Well, it looks like it's time to return to Pandora and to save Tannis. Oh hey, it's Vaughn! That very important character that we spent the whole game growing attached to. He's returned for the end of the story and is going to help us save our girl. More importantly, he knows where she's being held. At Carnivora, a festival held by Panic and Panic. However, in the Splinterlands, we make our way over to the entrance of the festival where we find out we need to sacrifice our car for entry. But our car isn't badass enough. We're gonna have to find something drippier. Thankfully, somebody named Big Donnie owns a gold vehicle. We just gotta go on over and ask politely if we can borrow it. He is so kind to lend it to us. We make our way over to Carnivora, where we acknowledge how dope our car is, and they let us access the festival. Like every festival, there are psychos everywhere. They're screaming, yelling, crying, trying to get me to wear one of those plant clippy things. Editor, put one of those on the screen. To be completely honest, I think these are so cute, but that's besides the point. We push our way through waves of people that are way too excited to see Penn and Teller to make Tannis disappear, and right as we're about to make it to the front of the stage up and leaves. Up and leaves? What do you mean up and leaves? Oh. It actually drove away. The boss arena is a car. I hope you like Mad Max, because this one's a doozy. We take our gilded, pimped out ride and chase this stagecoach. Get it? Across the sands. We hit it with a brake check and they let us backstage. Turns out, we're the VIP.
Welcome to the greatest show on Pandora!
Can we just acknowledge that Penn has a codpiece that says worship on it? So classy. And they keep it classy with a giant-ass robot to heat up the floor and take wide swings at us with a giant razor blade, trying to sever our connection to this mortal coil. After melting down the robot, Pain and Panic hop out of the mech to face us mano a mano a mano. Now watch as I make them disappear. Inspired by our magic show, Tannis decides to do a bit of magic of her own. Now that we've freed Tannis, it's time to bring the fight to them. Never mind, they have huge turrets. Instead, we're going to have to clear out a mine just below Roland's Rest to pick up an item from Tannis' hidden lab. Honestly, this is a pretty cool area with lots of cool moments tucked away in it. In fact, it's one of my favorite side quests, located in these mines. We just made it to Tannis' lab and loaded up the iridium doohickey onto a truck. But before I leave, Tannis tells me there's a hidden room. We walk up to the portrait of Jack holding what can be presumed to be his pregnant wife with a slash obscuring the face. We make our way into the small, square room with wires and gadgets strewn across the space. Tannis has a theory that sirens can store memories in objects and believes that Angel, Jack's daughter, might have stored some of hers in objects that she's touched.
Captain Bear, who is a bear? He is a bear, Captain Bear.
Hey, Angel. And who is this guy?
Captain Bear, he eats crime.
Whoa, he must be eating a lot with that big belly, huh? Hey, Angel, darling, what's that on your arm? Did you do that?
Blue, I don't know where it came from. Do you think it's pretty?
Yeah, sweetheart, it's real pretty. Hey, honey, can you get in here for a minute?
Tannis was right. We heard Jack talking to a much younger Angel. In fact, what we're hearing is the first time Angel's power manifested, presumably by animating a stuffed bear she was playing with. With the first memory discovered, Tannis encourages us to look for a vending machine, which is tucked behind a lever where we find this.
Stupid! Goddamn! Piece of crap asshole!
What's an asshole?
Oh, Angel, sweetheart, I'm sorry I didn't see you standing there. Don't say any of those words that Daddy said, okay?
Okay. Is the machine broken?
Yeah, looks like no candy for us. Hey, why don't you go back into the waiting room with Mommy, darling? The doctor's gonna be here any minute, okay?
I think I can fix it.
What the hell did you just do, Angel?
Well, we're starting to see that Jack that we know and love, but this is definitely a much younger man. You can hear the kindness when he speaks to Angel, trying to not show his frustration in front of his daughter. I even laughed a little at the, "What's it, asshole?" But we quickly see that mask drop when Angel uses her powers to fix the machine. Tannis suggests the next memory should be somewhere in a turret. We find it locked behind a door, which is opened after solving a small puzzle.
Mommy, Daddy, help!
Look, you filthy bandit. Just give us back our daughter, okay?
Are you kidding? She's a freaking siren. I'm gonna be a trillionaire. You and your wife get out of here before I stick my turrets on you. Forget the kid. Go make another one.
No, I want to go home!
Shut up, kid, or I'll... Hey, what the...
I want to go home!
Let's get down! No! No!
Well, Angel was captured by some bandits that were using her powers to their benefit. Jack went to go save his daughter, but lost his wife in the crossfire. We break some boards above a ladder that lead up to a Hyperion satellite with our final memory.
Daddy, please, let me out!
No can do, my sweet little angel. You're in that chair for your own good, okay?
You're such an asshole!
Language. Look, sweetheart, I can't let you out because of what you did to your mother, okay? I just couldn't bear it if something else happened to you.
I didn't mean to.
Shh, I know, darling. That's why you need to stay in that chair. But I got you something. That chair is connected to the entire Hyperion network. Now you can see through every satellite we own around every planet in the sky. You've got the best view in the whole universe from that chair. We're gonna work together. You and me, kiddo. Sound good?
Yeah, okay.
I love you, Angel.
I love you too, Dad.
There was not Jack the father or husband, but handsome Jack, tying his daughter to a network of Hyperion technology to set in motion his plans to become a hero. However, for just a second, we hear a sad father defeated by events that he was powerless to stop. These kinds of side quests are probably my favorite. You're hours deep into your playthrough, and you're making your way towards the end stages of the campaign, hacking, slashing, running, gunning, when the game just asks you to slow down. For a moment, everything was blurring around you, and now everything stands still. And then you have to keep going. Which we do! Let's go deliver the Iridium Thingamabob! Oh, real quick, I don't want to forget to mention that they capped the story off with a Fallout reference. That all of this was for a damn water chip. Kinda breaks the tension. Anyway, ooh, we're back into it! The children of the vault found us and we gotta go, go, go! The music kicks in and we're cruising, dodging bullets, killing fanatics, and delivering this reactor in no time with no hiccup. Almost no hiccup. I'm not the best driver and had to walk my happy ass to the nearest destructor to get this priceless one-of-a-kind item back. But soon after that, it was delivered no problems at all. We make our way back to Sanctuary. We're in position to launch attack on the twins when we find out some pretty key information. The moon is the final vault key, and they're charging it to open the final vault. We have to cut off their iridium supply before they destroy the universe and reshape it their own image. We say our goodbyes and head planetside to take the fight to them. We charge up Tannis with the Iridium supercomputer, turn off the turrets, and barge our way into the cathedral to put an end to this. Pushing through waves of fanatics, we make it to their flow of iridium and cut them off. When we cut off the supply, the key keeps getting charged, though. Why didn't it stop?
Been waiting for this, Vault Thief!
Leech is living up to his name and siphoning power off of his sister. We've got to put an end to this. We finally get to face off against the twins, dodging Psyblast. Troy is coming at us with a sword, all the while we hear Tyreen crying out for the pain to stop. This is pretty cinematic, but it doesn't quite feel right. Even at the moment, I didn't even believe this was the final fight. Alright, now where's the big fight?
We were so close.
Now let's finish this together. Game over, bitches!
Well, there we go. We're not quite finished yet. This is one of the few times I feel safe looting a vault, especially considering the villain has bigger fish to fry. Looks like we've got to find a way to Necrotafeia. I thought about making a joke about saying it 3 times fast, but I don't even want to try typing it 3 times fast. So instead, let's see how Tannis plans on finding this graveyard planet. Thankfully, she has a slab that has the exact location of the planet written on it in crayon. Let's go meet Typhon, a guy whose voice I've heard so much that I've forgotten what his face looks like. It appears that Malawan has beat us here, so we have to get a move on. We first need to clear out the local fauna, which, it's cool to have organic life with armor. I feel like besides people wearing armor, this is one of the few instances of this happening. We make our way to the coordinates of Typhon and meet the man behind the voice.
What? You were expecting someone less handsome?
He looks exactly like I imagined he would. And he needs our help. We have to find the final vault key to unlock the machine that'll put the destroyer away for good. First, we have to kill some Malawan soldiers positioned right outside. We kick their ass in retaliation, they blow up the bridge leading to the vault. Apparently the guy we killed on Athenas had an older brother, and he's making us pay for what we did. Thankfully, there's an alternate route. We just have to walk around the back. Only one issue is that it's swarming with vault creatures, which are some of the coolest looking enemies in the game. Oh hey, if this isn't the consequences of my actions, come back from the grave to haunt me. And he's dead. Let's go into the vault. One issue, there's a puzzle. It seems I need to take one crystal and move it over there. We start making our way down to the key where Tyreen decides to drop a little knowledge bomb on us. Typhon is Troy and Tyrene's dad, and I killed his son. Am I gonna have to fight Typhon? No, thank God. Typhon found his great vault that he's been hunting for his whole life. He is very content with spending the rest of his days on Necrotafeia. However, when all you do is tell your children stories of your adventures, it will make them want to go on their own. Typhon wanted to protect them from a universe he knew could be so dangerous, especially towards sirens. So he did what he thought was best for them, and they decided to prove him wrong. Honestly, this is where the story really picks up. It's a shame that this is so close to the end, a mere half an hour from ending the campaign, and you're just now giving me a reason to care about these villains. And yet, we must continue our story. We take the vault key and explore the already picked over vault where Typhon gives us the Iridian Replicator. Now we must open the machine, also known as the Pyre of Stars, where we must try and get it up and running to put away the destroyer for good. We put in the Pandora vault key to kick off the process, clear away some guardians before putting in the Promethea key, and make our way over to the Eden 6 slot. Of course, that'd be too easy, so not only do we have to fight off vault guardians, but Tyreen teleports bandits into the fight to slow us down. Emphasis on the slow us down, since we do manage to slot in the 2 last keys and make our way back to Tannis to witness the machine booting up. It works! The vault on Pandora begins to close, but Tyreen is going to make sure that that doesn't happen smoothly.
Hiya, Starlight.
Typhon is learning all the wrong lessons of parenting and paying the ultimate price for it. Well, this game really seems to be about family, so let's put an end to this bloodline once and for all. Tyreen the Destroyer! She finally got what she wanted, and it is ugly. A beast of a creature and a good fight as it slams the ground, sending out iridium shockwave. Not only that, but a hood of tentacles will periodically close around her face, protecting the Tyreen inside. After we do enough damage, the beast falls to the ground, absorbing in energy, but also giving us an opportunity to rip damage into it. Of course, this triggers the second phase where she flies off of the stage to fling bullet-hell plasma balls at us. She slams down onto the ground, revealing the nape of her neck one more time before we put the monster away for good. There's only one issue.
It's over. Not entirely. Great Vault is still opening. Run towards the fire.
Oh my god.
And with that, we are done with Borderlands 3. Time for the question that we are set to answer from the beginning. Was it any good? Well, I wish I could tell you either way. It's terrible, awful, evil, and bad. Just like everybody's been saying since its release. or I'd like to tell you it surprised me and it was immeasurably better than what I initially thought. That it functions well as a successor and a beautiful cap to a trilogy as a send-off to a beloved franchise. However, Borderlands 4 will make sure that's not true. My honest-to-God opinion is that Borderlands 3 is a fine video game. It plays alright, it has some decent written moments, and an awesome-looking world. It lacks the depth of the series that came before it. I'm not going to pretend to be in the writer's room, but I personally feel a lack of heart in this game. That there wasn't as much of a belief in the story they were telling. Only using previous games in the series as benchmarks, I would like to say that there was very little earned payoff. I truly felt that a good portion of the main story beats were trying to ride on the success of a story that came before it. This is evident in the countless cameos and fan service in every moment. Where I would have been excited to see new characters and learn about new stories of people I haven't met, I was being met with the exact same roster of characters. The only issue is that most of these characters' stories are resolved, and their involvement in them felt half-hearted or unnecessary. This doesn't mean I don't think you shouldn't use any of your previous characters, but all of my favorite characters in this game were accompanied by someone who we've already seen, and I think that weakened their merit. I loved the Reese and Katagawa storyline, and I didn't mind Zero being there, but even so, Reese isn't new, he was in the Telltale games. My second favorite couple, Hammerlock and Jacobs, actually had quite a strong storyline, and had good build-up, but it was bisected by a section of story chunked out to the Three Stooges of the previous game, also watered down by a much less developed character in Balax. If that section of the game removed those 4 characters from this part of the plot, it would have been the best developed and paced part of the game. It felt insecure, like they didn't trust these stories to stand on their own legs. This game was not plagued by bad writing, instead I think it was plagued by not knowing what story they wanted to tell next. I think this is most evident by the villains, really. We've seen bandits before, the cults of the abhorrent followers and radio stars getting brand deals with greedy corporations is a cool story. It has some strong things to say and could have been really poignant. The only issue is that I never felt like I was chasing the villains. I never felt like they were making moves while I was fucking off and doing random ass shit. All these moments that could have been really cool abused this notion of gotcha. Oh, you beat the vault. Thanks. Now we can suck the Guardians dry. Now let's repeat that 3 times. I even said it, every time I enter a vault, something bad happens. I want to believe the villains are smart, and I want to believe that they believe in what they're doing. However, the gameplay doesn't reveal that, and we don't get glimpses of these characters till the very last 45 minutes of gameplay. I don't care anymore, and the last route of the story where everyone is Avengers assembling feels very cheap, because I don't care about these characters. They didn't earn it. It had so much potential, and I felt like that they didn't trust themselves to actually tell you a different story than the one you were expecting, which resulted in being underwhelmed. All I can say is I hope next time they surprise me.